Hey guys, so for those who saw part 1, welcome back. For those who haven't, there will be a link in the description box below to part 1. Anyway, so we're continuing where we left off with part 2.
G'day everyone, this is Jill and I'm Zoe. This is a little reminder that I'm not a professional horse trainer, so anything you do see in my videos is only intended to be a guide. So, with that said, let's get into the video.
Don't forget to like, subscribe and turn on notifications to our channel. Drop a comment below and let us know what you'd like to see.
Good. So you notice she picked up on the feel of the rope that I wanted to change a direction, and she started changing direction before I even got there. And so whenever you're driving them forward like this, you want to keep your attention on the hind quarters. If you think of the hind quarters like the engine of a car, this is where all the drive comes from, all the power. Good girl. We're getting a nice looking chew there too, that's nice. And I'll insert a clip from the last time we attempted this. I've got much better focus, she's paying attention, she's changed direction when I ask, and for the most part, holding the gate also when I ask her to. It's all right. Just to ask her to pick up that movement. And we're going to get back to it, but this time we're going to have the dummy legs on her, and we'll see how she does with those today. Okay, so as I've mentioned in another video, these are the legs. Now, for those who haven't seen the video, these are just a pair of my old pants that I have since stuffed with some towels that will later be stuffed with some sandbags as well, just to simulate some weight and stability and an overall feel of the weight of a rider. So, to keep her used to things being different, we're going to have the legs mount from her right side instead of her left. Good girl. Now, just like real people, these legs have a bit of a mind of their own, and so they do slip and slide a little bit on her back when she moves, but that's fine. It gives me an idea of how she'd react with an unstable weight or lopsided. But it will also mean that if they were to fall off, I get an idea of how she might react to a rider. Now, she has had these on her back a few times before, and any time I've asked movement of her and they've fallen off, she's always come to a nice warm stop. She's never spooked or suddenly run off because of the drop to the ground. It's nice that she has self-taught herself to stop, and I haven't had to teach that. Walk on. So, the same exercise, I'm going to ask for that nice walk, have her walk on and pay attention to me, even with a rider on her back. Good, and then I'm going to think about changing direction. She's going to think about doing that on me, that's fine. We're just going to get that attention back and get the change direction anyway. Because I want Jill's full attention, even with a rider on her back. Good girl, and I'm thinking about changing again, she felt. Good, walk on. Good girl. And trot. Good, trot. So you can see that the rider is shifting its weight a little bit. Trot. That's fine. And you notice she's actually steadying herself. Trot. According to what that rider's doing, so that the rider doesn't actually fall off. Now, I didn't teach her to do this, she's doing this all on her own. Trot. Trot. Good girl. Trot. Trot. Good girl. Trot. Good. And woo. So that's actually a first. Normally she holds that trot out real nice, and she only really tries to slow or stop when the legs are really starting to fall off, but she's actually holding this pretty nice. So this has probably been by far been her best session with the legs. She's held her trot really nice. She's walking nice, she's changing direction. And some of you probably wouldn't believe me, but that's fine. I have never actually had an issue with the legs on her at all, even the first time she saw them. No huffing, nothing. And the similar experience was the first time I actually put the saddle on her back as well. Now, there is also a video I've done about this as well, which I'll put a link in bio. Sorry, in the description box below. But even in that session, you know, she didn't have the girth on yet. And this is just a safety reason, just so there's no negative association between the saddle and the girth. Just like most young horses, she's still getting used to the feel of having a girth. So I'm not pushing it too hard. I just want to make sure she's comfortable with the saddle separately, without the feel and association of a girth, which, like most young horses, makes her tense. Walk on. Good girl. And trot. Trot. So those who are eagle-eyed, you probably saw I just gave her a little tickle on the bum just before, just to encourage that forward movement to pick up that nice trot for me. Trot. So it's nice that the rider's actually been able to move back. Good, and whoa. And she didn't spook at the feel of the rider sitting further back than closer to her wither. The legs actually bounced there all by themselves, along with the weight of her, and they've just stayed there. Good, and trot. So this tarpaulin idea in the middle's had an unexpected positive effect of actually encouraging Jill to keep that circle. Good, and whoa, good. So you'll notice there that the rider was actually nearly falling off, and rather than waiting till the rider fell off, she actually slowed and came to a halt all on her own to allow the rider to be corrected. Now once again, I didn't actually teach Jill this. Trot. She's done that all on her own. And if she actually is going to keep doing that, I actually want to encourage that to make sure the rider will stay on. Good. Good girl. Good. So that if she feels her rider starting to slip, I want her to stop. Trot. So I'm actually looking for offered behaviour rather than me training this. Good. Yes. So that she feels more in tune with the rider than actually being trained to look for it. Instead, I'm encouraging her to look for this and offer a behaviour. So once again, the legs are starting to slip. She's noticed, good girl. And you'll notice each time they've actually been less and less slanted. She's actually holding that all on her own. And she's finding that all by herself. Let's see if she'll find it again. There, good. So once again, the rider slipped a little bit and she stopped like a good little pony and allowed the rider to readjust position before we continue. Walk on. And trot. Good. Now you notice that the legs are slipping off to one side. I was trying to actually push her to go forward, but she encouraged to come to a halt so that her rider can be corrected. So it's a great example of her showing me a behaviour and me encouraging a behaviour that she's given me on her own. Good, and woo. Good. Okay, so we're going to take the rider off now. Leggy's had enough riding today, but what I am going to attempt to do is ask her to walk on and see if I can move this just off to the side, not pushing her with it, not tapping her or anything with it, but just see if I can keep a forward movement with the flag and let's go from there. Now the reason for this isn't to spook her, nothing like that. What I want is for her to accept things that are moving or making noise, even while in motion. Because while she may accept things standing still, things aren't always going to be that way when someone's on her back. So I want to make sure that she can be in a gait, moving, with a distraction happening, and hopefully keep her as a nice quiet riding pony. Walk on. So I'm going to move it over here. Good girl. Walk on. So you notice she's actually stopping because I'm moving it. Walk on. That's fine. It's still early stages for this. Walk on. But I want to make sure that while she's moving, I can start to make a bit of noise and make a bit of movement. Back up. Good, yes. Good. So you notice I'm not going anywhere near her with it. I'm not bothered about gait right now. Good girl, walk on. But I am starting to add that bit of movement. Because again, I want her to realize that movement can happen even when she's moving. So at this stage, I'm not bothered about gait, whether she's walking or trotting or canter. What I would do want is that she keeps moving, even with it moving. Good girl. So that was nice. That was a good first try. As I said, I've never actually had her move with a distraction like this. So this is actually the first time. She must have a fly or something in her ears. This is the first time that she's ever had movement happening while I've asked her to lunge. So I'm just sort of put her in the deep end today, but she actually did really well for her first try. I couldn't have actually asked for a better first result. So I'm going to switch her direction and see if we can get the same reaction back the other way. Hopefully we can. Good girl, walk on. So you notice before she thought I was going to hit her with it, even though she has never actually been attacked with these. She's been touched, but she's never been attacked with them. So again, I just want to keep that nice movement. Walk on. Good. Walk on. So it's only because there's a little bit of movement happening now that she's a bit unsure. But that's fine as long as I keep my body language low. Now I'm not actually looking at her at all. In fact, I'm looking at the ground or at her hindquarters most of the time. This means that I pose less of a threat. I'm not paying too much attention to what the flag's doing. I'm just waving it a little bit. And all I want to do is just keep that circle. I'm not looking for perfection right now. but I do want her to hold the circle. Good. Good girl. Good. And so this is how I've started her with the flag. Again, this is actually the first time I've successfully got her to move with the flag while being lunged. It's also the second time I've ever attempted this. So for her first official try, I couldn't be more happier with those results. Good girl. So that is about all for today's session. And yeah, as always, if you have a question for myself or Jill here, drop a comment below and I'll answer it the best way I can in a Q&A video. Until next time, Jill and I will see you guys all later.